political controversy has arisen over Jawaharlal Nehru's private letters, which were taken back by Sonia Gandhi in 2008 from the Prime Minister's Museum and Library. The museum has appealed to Rahul Gandhi to return the letters originally entrusted to the institution in 1971. The collection includes 51 boxes of personal correspondences Nehru had with notable figures like Albert Einstein, Edwina Mountbatten and others. Now, what is the issue at hand? The library requests Rahul Gandhi to return the historical letters of Pandit Nehru. 2. The letters were removed in 2008 at Sonia Gandhi's request and stored privately. 3. The collection transferred to the library in 1971 contains 51 boxes of Nehru's correspondence with notable figures. 4th, these includes Albert Einstein, Jayaprakash Narayan, Edwina Mountbatten, Padmaja Naidu, Vijay Lakshmi Pandit and others. The Memorial Library believes that making these letters accessible would aid research. The letter written to Sonia Gandhi in September 24 requesting to return or allow digitization. On December 7th, the library urged Rahul Gandhi to retrieve the letter or provide copies. 8th, it stresses the museum for the former Prime Minister that these papers are of historical importance for understanding Indian history. Now, this matter came into light because Rizwan Qadri is the person who had shot up this letter. And I spoke with Mr. Qadri a short while ago, who as part of this apparatus has not only written the letter but argued why these Nehru papers are so important. We will talk about the row over Nehru's letters that were withdrawn by Sonia Gandhi in 2008 from the Prime Minister's Museum and Library. Dr. Rizwan Qadri has brought this issue to light that lay buried for last 1 decade. He recently wrote to leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi to return the private letters to the museum. It includes 51 cartons of Nehru's correspondence with Albert Einstein, Jayaprakash Narayan, Edwina Mountbatten, Padmaja Naidu, Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, Babu Jagjivan Ram and others. Welcome, Dr. Qadri. Why are these papers of so much importance?
ये पेपर की सिग्निफिकेंस बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है, क्योंकि पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू भारत के प्रथम प्रधानमंत्री थे और उन्हीं की स्मृति के अंदर ये नेहरू मेमोरियल म्यूजियम एंड लाइब्रेरी कायम किया गया था। मगर साथ साथ इसके एम ऑब्जेक्ट में ये भी रखा गया था कि फ्रीडम मूवमेंट में जिन जिन सेनानियों ने अपना योगदान दिया है देश को आजाद करने में, उन सबका जो कुछ भी कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस है उनका सारा कलेक्शंस है और उसके साथ साथ ओरल हिस्ट्री का भी प्रोजेक्ट बड़े पैमाने पे इधर लिया गया। उनके सब मेमोर्स भी रिकॉर्ड करके यहाँ पर संग्रहित करने में आए। 1964 में ये नेहरू मेमोरियल म्यूजियम बना और अभी 2 वर्ष पहले सभी प्रधानमंत्रियों का योगदान की सराहना करते हुए आने वाली पीढ़ी उनको याद करे, उसके लिए वहां पर प्रधानमंत्री संग्रहालय का निर्माण किया गया। मगर 2008 से पहले जो भी कलेक्शन था वो नेहरू पेपर्स का पार्ट था। नेहरू पेपर्स यानी कि भारत के प्रधानमंत्री, पहले प्रधानमंत्री, उनका जितना भी कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस है, जैसे कलेक्टेड वर्क्स ऑफ महात्मा गांधी में भी क्या है, सभी लोग का कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस है। लोग ने सामने चल के जो भी गांधी जी का कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस उनके पास था वो सारा हैंड ओवर किया और इसी प्रकार द कलेक्टेड वर्क्स ऑफ महात्मा गांधी जी का निर्माण हो पाया है। तो यहाँ पर जो भी नेहरू पेपर्स थे तो वो डोनर फैमिली से उसका परमिशन लिया जाता था, लेना पड़ता था और उनकी तरफ से कुछ पेपर्स दिखाए जाते थे, कुछ पेपर्स नहीं दिखाए जाते। तो हमारा ये डिमांड था कि सभी के लिए सार्वजनिक किया जाए, सभी को एक समान देखने का हक दिया जाए और उसी प्रकार ये संस्था ये हमेशा संशोधकों के लिए खुली कर दी जाए। इस संस्था की पहचान
मिस्टर
कलेक्शन के लिए अपने संशोधन और संशोधक।
Mr. Qadri, I have there are two parts. There are two parts to this issue. One is, can there be a distinction drawn between private and public? One, and secondly, when we talk about Nehru, what sort of access the researchers would get if these papers are available to them?
यस, प्राइवेट और पब्लिक का सवाल इसमें नहीं आता हैगा, क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री का जो भी कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस है, भारत के पहले प्रधानमंत्री पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू के साथ जो भी कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस, वो सारा पब्लिक डोमेन में ही आता है और वो सबके लिए एक्सेसिबल होना चाहिए। सवाल ये आता हैगा कि इस संस्थान के अंदर महादेव देसाई का डायरी भी है। महादेव भाई गांधी जी के सेक्रेटरी थे और गांधी जी को अगर जानना समझना है तो सबसे बड़े में बड़ा सोर्स है वो महादेव देसाई का डायरी। महादेव भाई ने जो भी वो जमाने में देखा वो उन्होंने इसको लिखा है। 2008 मार्च से पहले यहां पर ऐसा भेदभाव नहीं था, ये सब नेहरू पेपर्स का ही पार्ट था। यानी इस संस्था की स्थापना हुई तब से लेके, सोसाइटी बनी तब से लेके 2008 तक का पूरा कलेक्शन यहां पर रहता था। 2008 में अचानक क्या हो गया? प्राइवेट का डेफिनेशन क्या? पर्सनल कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस तो प्रधानमंत्री का कोई हो नहीं सकता, और पंडित जी के साथ जिनका भी कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस है उसके माध्यम से देश का इतिहास जानने को, समझने को मिलता हैगा। आप देखें कि यहाँ पर जेपी का जो पेपर्स हैगा तो अकेले पंडित जी ने लिखे होंगे नहीं, मगर जयप्रकाश नारायण जी ने उनको जो भी लिखा होगा वो होगा। अल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन का कलेक्शन आप देखें, दुनिया के महान वैज्ञानिक अल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन के किस तरह से पंडित जी संपर्क में थे, उनकी तरफ से क्या प्रत्युत्तर आता था, इधर से उनको क्या उत्तर दिया जाता था, ये सभी महत्वपूर्ण है। और इसके साथ साथ आप देखें अलग अलग जो कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस है, मगर सबसे बड़ी बात जो है, जो मेरा डिमांड था वो एडविना माउंटबेटन के पेपर्स के लिए था। ये कंटिन्यूअस हमारा डिमांड था कि हमें देखने दिया जाए, हमें देखने दिया जाए, मगर बाद में पता चला कि वो तो इधर से चले गए। हमारे सीनियर, हमारे बुजुर्ग राम बहादुर राय जी ने पास्ट में इस दिशा में काम भी किया था और एक पुलिस कंप्लेंट भी उन्होंने किया था। इस वजह से ये कलेक्शन तो यहाँ बरसों से था, तो ये संस्था की मिल्कियत था।
Mr. Kadri, why are Edwina's papers so important? Edwina Mountbatten.
एडविना माउंटबेटन पेपर्स इस वजह से इंपॉर्टेंट है कि इसके बारे में जात जात का लिखा जाता है, जात जात की बात होती है कि पंडित जी उनसे ये शेयर करते थे, वो शेयर करते थे, मगर जब आप देखेंगे, आप पढ़ेंगे तो शायद आपको उसमें कोई भी चीज देखने को नहीं मिलेगी। अगर है तो उसके ऊपर भी चर्चा होनी चाहिए। हम देखेंगे जैसे सरदार पेपर्स है 1973 के अहमदाबाद के फ्लड के अंदर ऑलमोस्ट सब डिस्ट्रॉय हो गए थे, मगर उससे पहले नेशनल आर्काइव्स ऑफ इंडिया ने उसका माइक्रो फिल्मिंग किया था। तो आज हमारे लिए एक सोर्स बच गया हैगा, एक बहुत बड़ा सोर्स हमको देखने को मिलता हैगा। मेरे को एक लेटर उसमें ऐसा देखने मिला है सरदार पेपर्स में, माउंटबेटन सरदार को लेटर लिखते हैं कि मैं हिंदुस्तान जब छोड़ के जाऊंगा तब मेरी एक तमन्ना है कि आपके साथ एक तस्वीर लूं और तस्वीर के ऊपर आप अपने ऑटोग्राफ दें। मैं जब इंग्लैंड से यहाँ पर आया था तब मेरे दोस्तों ने कहा कि आपको हिंदुस्तान में सबसे ज्यादा कठिनाई आएगी वो सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल के साथ काम करने में आएगी, मगर माउंटबेटन लिखते हैं मुझे सबसे ज्यादा किसी से काम करना आसान लगा हो, किसी का मैंने दिल जीता हो, किसी की मैंने मोहब्बत हासिल की हो, किसी का मैंने प्रेम हासिल किया हो, तो वो मेरे माय डियर सरदार जी। तो ये चीज, ये दो व्यक्ति के बीच का पत्र व्यवहार है। तो इसी तरह से नेहरू और दूसरों का जो कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस हैगा ये 51 कार्टन नहीं है, ये छोटे मोटे बॉक्स नहीं है। एक बॉक्स की क्या साइज है मुझे पता नहीं है, मगर बहुत बड़ा कलेक्शन है और ये कलेक्शन ये राष्ट्र की संपत्ति है, राष्ट्र की धरोहर है। इसको हर संशोधक के लिए सरलता से उपलब्ध करना चाहिए।
Can museum take legal action? Can you take a legal course? Would you like, would the institution like to go to the court in case the Gandhis don't?
Yes, definitely. हमारे AGM के अंदर हमारे एक माननीय सदस्य ने भी क्वेश्चन रेज किया था कि लास्ट मीटिंग में हमने तय किया था लीगल ओपिनियन लेने का, मगर उस दिशा में कोई कार्यवाही हुई नहीं। तब एजीएम के मिनट्स में भी है कि हम लीगल एक्शन की कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं। मगर मैंने जो नेहरू पेपर्स का फॉरेंसिक ऑडिटिंग का बात किया था, क्योंकि काफी सारे पन्ने उसमें डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिए गए थे, पेपर श्रेडिंग मशीन से फाड़ दिए गए थे, तो उसके लिए इंटरनल इंक्वायरी कमेटी भी बनाई गई थी, उसका भी गठन हुआ था। मगर क्या आगे प्रक्रिया हुई वो बताया गया नहीं है। पर मैं चाहता हूं कि उस दिशा में भी काम हो, क्योंकि ये बहुत गंभीर सवाल है। पेपर श्रेडिंग मशीन से सिलेक्टेड जो कोई भी उनके ऑब्जेक्शनेबल आते हैं, उनके खिलाफ जाते हैं, उन पन्नों को नाश करना ये सर्वनाश करने के बराबर है। किसी देश की संस्कृति का विनाश करो तो उसकी धरोहर को
who was the director then, sir? Who was the director then?
वो टाइम पे कौन डायरेक्टर था वो भी एक संशोधन का विषय है, क्योंकि सभी लोग को पता है। अगर हमारे जैसे विजिटर ने ये चीज देखी है तो वो बंदा तो उधर वहां पर कई दिनों से बैठ के काम करता था। ये सारी चीजें भी आज हाई लेवल उसका इंक्वायरी होना चाहिए। और जैसे एआईसीसी पेपर्स है, एआईसीसी पेपर्स 1946 का अप्रैल का आप देखें तो उसमें मिसिंग लिखता है, कोई ढंग से चीज दिखती नहीं है कि यानी क्लियरली आपको दिखता है कि इसके अंदर मालाफाइड इंटेंशन है। जब फर्स्ट प्राइम मिनिस्टर का सवाल आया 24 अप्रैल 1946 का, तो वो पेपर्स में भी आप देखेंगे तो काफी सारी चीजें आप लिंक कर नहीं पाते, कनेक्ट कर नहीं पाते, कुछ कुछ चीजें मिसिंग देखने को मिलती है। तो ये सारी चीजें इसकी हाई लेवल इंक्वायरी होना चाहिए, ये हमारा डिमांड रहा था। और ये सारी चीजें एजीएम में भी बड़े पैमाने पे डिस्कस हुई थी और इस दिशा में कार्रवाई।
when is the next AGM? When is the next AGM?
अब तो हमारा टर्म खत्म हो गया है। अभी जनवरी की 13 तारीख तक एक्सटेंशन दिया गया पूरी सोसाइटी को। आने वाली एजीएम कब होगी वो आपको वहां से ही पता करना होगा।
So thank you so much for joining us. Now, BJP has attacked Congress on these Nehru papers. What they have said is the letters are not private property of Nehru-Gandhi family. Letters are national and of historical importance. Why does Nehru-Gandhi family want to keep the letters private? Is Gandhi family hiding something from the nation? Letter must be returned and made public. On the other hand, the Congress is saying the letters were sent to the museum by Indira Gandhi in 71 for safekeeping. The letters were not a permanent gift. Ownership of the letters remains with the heirs of the Nehru-Gandhi family. The letters were written in personal capacity. Fifth, making the letters public can be invasion of privacy of a person who can no longer defend himself. And sixth, BJP wants to defame Nehru. Now let me play out a bite of BJP and Congress, then I'll straight away go to my guests.
This is a historical heritage. ये इतिहास की विरासत है। ये किसी परिवार का अपना प्रॉपर्टी नहीं है। ये चिट्ठियां क्योंकि मेरे दादा ने लिखी या मेरी नानी ने लिखी, मेरे पिताजी ने लिखा, इसलिए ये मेरी प्रॉपर्टी है, दिस इज एंटाइटलमेंट, ये नहीं हो सकता है। ये राष्ट्र का धरोहर है। देश के इतिहास को अच्छे तरीके से समझने के लिए, जानने के लिए यह अनिवार्य है कि आप इन चिट्ठियों का अध्ययन करें, इनका संकलन करें और उसके पश्चात देश के इतिहास को पढ़ाएं। दे फॉर्म एन इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ द कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंडिया। और मुझे कहते हुए आश्चर्य हो रहा है और दुख भी हो रहा है, 2010 से इन सारी चिट्ठियों का डिजिटाइजेशन होना था। इनको स्कैन करके डिजिटल माध्यम से इनको आगे बढ़ाना था। और 2010 में डिजिटाइजेशन से पहले ही सोनिया जी ने इन चिट्ठियों को अपने पास मंगा लिया। तो स्वाभाविक है हमारे मन में यह प्रश्न उठेगा कि इन चिट्ठियों में ऐसा क्या करस्पॉन्डेंस था कि गांधी परिवार नहीं चाहती थी कि यह करस्पॉन्डेंस पब्लिक हो। एंड इट इज क्वाइट इंट्रीगिंग एंड द कंट्री रियली वांट्स टू नो as to what was in these correspondence between, say, Nehru ji and Lady Mountbatten, between Nehru ji and Jagjeevan Ram ji, between Nehru ji and Jayaprakash Narayan ji, and there are certain letters, it seems, between Nehru ji and Albert Einstein as well. What were the contents of this letter that the first family felt that it should not be made public?
Nehru's letters has to be with the Nehru's family, not with the Godse's family. And we all know that Godse wants to defame Nehru and Gandhi's legacies, and it's a continuous effort for many years by the Godse believers that defaming Nehru is the right thing, which they continue to do it because Nehru was the person who stopped communalization from the beginning, which is very harmful for the country like India.
I'm joined by Dr. Dharinder Tyal, BJP spokesperson, Dr. Pooja Tripathi, spokesperson, Congress Party, Ajit Kejha, senior journalist. First to Dr. Tyal, why has this matter become so important right now? I mean, this is something which happened in 2008. Why do you think it gains momentum today?
No, so it gains momentum today because, I mean, the papers were taken away in 2008, but the letter was written to Mrs. Gandhi in September now and this year, and now a letter has been written to Rahul Gandhi in December this year. So obviously, since no response is coming from the Gandhi family, so obviously then this question comes that why is it that this is happening? And what we just heard is appalling when they say it cannot be given to the Godse family. What is the Godse family? What are they referring to? I mean, is the PMML the Godse family? And what really is the Godse family? I mean, can the Congress not just get beyond abuse of some kind and cast insinuations? The fact of the matter, what was just said by Mr. Kadri, the papers were shredded and they're saying they want to defame Mr. Nehru. If there is nothing there, then how did Mr. Nehru get defamed? And then there is this talk about the letters being, or these are the private letters. Now, nobody is asking for the letters that Mr. Nehru wrote to, say, Shrimati Kamala Nehru. These are letters which were written by Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru because he would not have known, let's say, Albert Einstein in his capacity as Jawaharlal Nehru or Lady Mountbatten in his capacity as Jawaharlal Nehru. It was Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. So it was as a Prime Minister. So there is nothing private about it. We should be very clear on that. The other thing, the other fallacy that is being spread, the falsehood which is being spread is that these were kept for safekeeping. In fact, I was on another debate and Dr. Pooja was also there and Mr. Kadri was there. He was specifically asked, were these given for safekeeping? He said, PMML is not a warehouse where you stock things. This was donated. Now, if it has been donated once, can I just another day decide that I'm going to take it back? I no longer want to donate it. It's been donated. It is there for the public. Let the public know. Now,
you'll get the chance to speak. I'm just saying let other panelists also respond. Then I'll come back to you, sir. I'll come back to you.
Sure.
Dr. Pooja Tripathi.
You know, Kartikeya, they came up with a campaign, Bharatiya Janata Party, Mera Booth Sabse Majboot, and the way they have been demeaning Nehru. There's been systematic campaign to malign, to discredit, to distort and rewrite Nehru's history, which they could not have done in the last 11 years because Nehru is too big for their shoes. And then there was a meme that came with the Nehru's picture saying, Mera Bhoot Sabse Majboot. That is Nehru for you. Sambit Patra ji, who is actually taking a press conference and talking about national heritage, talking about shared heritage, I can vouch that he has never read Discovery of India, he has never read letters to Priyadarshini, he has never read letters to Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, he has never read letters to the chief ministers, the 7 chief ministers of the country that Prime Minister Nehru wrote on the federal structure. He has not even read about the concept of Bharat Mata that Nehru wrote. So their obsession with Nehru is unreal. And I disagree with Mr. Kadri, with huge respect to all his academic credentials. The PMML's records itself shows that Mrs. Indira Gandhi, the former Prime Minister, in 1971 as a legal hire of Jawaharlal Nehru, as an head of Jawaharlal Nehru Memorial Fund, gave these letters to the Nehru Museum Library that was earlier, which has now been converted, for safekeeping and not as a private donation and permanent donation. And as Sonia Gandhi is the legal hire to Mrs. Indira Gandhi in 2008, when these letters were segregated in professional, in public and personal capacities by none other than M.V. Rajan, the political secretary of Nehru himself. it was decided that the whole public correspondence, the public letters, and is huge. The way Nehru has been the man of letters and the amount of correspondence.
Madam, but you have not answered the question. You know, you said, but the question is not that. Jawaharlal Nehru is he a private property, or he is the first Prime Minister of this country where his paper should be accessible to scholars? It is here the debate is.
Let me complete. So these correspondence were segregated into public and private, and family, being the legal heirs of Nehruji, the family has complete control and complete autonomy over the private correspondence. They want to share it or they want to retract it. That's their prerogative. These are personal letters which has been given for safekeeping, and this is not a new tradition. Be it any Ivy League university, be it any academic institutions, the private correspondences and the letters or any written document has been kept with institutions for safekeeping and not as a donation. Look at P.N. Haskar's communication kept for safekeeping. Look at Krishna Menon papers, only you can take permission from families. Even the collected works of Atal Bihari Vajpayee are not accessible to the public. Narasimha Rao's papers, you have to take explicit permission from the family. So this is Nehru's family. They have control, they are the legal heirs, the rightful heirs to the personal papers. And why this hue and cry? You discredit Nehru, you think Nehru...
Dr. Tripathi, I think you'll have to wait for another turn. Okay, these are the opening comments. Huh? I have my own questions ready. Ajit, why do you think that this controversy has become so big today, on a particular day today? Why today?
See, the timing obviously is a rewriting of history that's going on. Like ever since the BJP government came in 2015, Jawaharlal Nehru, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru has been attacked, and not by only the BJP party, but the Prime Minister himself. In fact, in Parliament, in his last speech, he sort of said that ever from the time of Jawaharlal Nehru till Rahul Gandhi, this family has, it has destroyed India or something of that sort, right? So obviously, the family wants to guard the letters. Now, their claim is that these are private letters. Normally, in most libraries in the world, after a period of 50 years, one is supposed to put things in the public domain. But I guess if these letters were written by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, not as the Prime Minister, but in his private capacity, especially, let's say, letters to Edwina Mountbatten, so that, I think, might come in this domain of private letters. But you know what? Pamela Hicks, Edwina Mountbatten's daughter, had access to these letters at the time when she wrote the book Daughters of the Empire, Life of a Mountbatten. And in that, she has said that there was a profound, quote, I'm quoting her, there was a profound relationship between Edwina Mountbatten and Jawaharlal Nehru. She says that they were very fond of each other. However, she clarifies that she thinks there was no physical relation between the two. But at the same time, she does talk about, that they were very close friends. Profound, as I said, is the phrase used. Now,
it's not about Edwina Mountbatten. I personally feel that the letters are written to Albert Einstein. They were written to Jayaprakash Narayanan. These are contemporary figures of contemporary India. I mean, so what great insight would be to understand what the first Prime Minister, who headed the interim government from 46 to 1952, and then went on to win 3 elections, was actually thinking in context of shaping of the modern India. I mean, so wouldn't that enrich the public life? Dr. Tayal.
So that is exactly what I have been saying, that these were letters written by the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, number one. Number two, now Mr. Ajit referred to the book Daughter of Empire, Life as a Mountbatten, Pamela Hicks. In that, she also says that Lady Mountbatten wanted to give an emerald ring to Jawaharlal Nehru, which was given then to Priyadarshini Indraji, to be given to Jawaharlal Nehru. Now, what is the price the country has paid for that emerald ring? Don't we deserve to know? Congress has all the time maintained that Jawaharlal Nehru gave himself to the country He belongs to the country, but today that feeling of entitlement of the family, that the family is entitled. What entitlement? And go by what Jawaharlal Nehru wanted, his personal letters to his daughter, he wanted even those in the public domain, which nobody could have asked for. So that is what Jawaharlal Nehru wanted. And what is it that these people are trying to do to the legacy of Jawaharlal Nehru? There is an unnecessary delusion of persecution that is happening here. Now, if I was to tell you that, and I'm quoting, Jawaharlal Nehru was greatly impressed by Lord Mountbatten, but perhaps even greater was the influence of Lord or Lady Mountbatten. Now, if I was to say this, we would be accused. But who has said this? Maulana Abul Kalam Azad in his book, India Wins Freedom. Don't we deserve to know, doesn't the country deserve to know what was it that our country has paid for that? Don't we need to understand our own history? And Congress wants to deny us that.
I have been with you, Dr. Tayar, I have been with you on this. When say yes, these papers need to be in public domain. But there's a genuine fear in the opposition which feels that the only intention is to bring down Nehru as a credible politician. How do you address that?
No, so how does that happen? If all is hunky-dory, if all is well, can we, if so much is already there in the public domain, could we have brought him down on that? Why would one want to bring him down on that? If there's nothing there, which means there is something to hide. That is actually an admission of guilt.
Let me ask you one thing. We can, we always say that the Congress is Parivarvad, not going beyond family. But is Nehru your hero, sir?
No, why should he be? But every Prime Minister of this country needs to be my hero. There would be good things that he's done, there would be bad things that he's done, and we all as Indians deserve to know and analyze what was good, what was bad. What is wrong with that? Should we go in for
answer? That's an sir, that's an honest answer. That's an honest answer. I am not saying that you have to defy the opposition leaders. But then I also have a question to you, Dr. Pooja. And my question to you is, by not giving these papers out, don't you think that the Congress again gets bandied by the impression that it's only about the family? Doesn't it stick to them? Again, the debate, the popular narrative is Desh and Parivarvad.
Look at where this rhetoric is going. Look at where this discussion is going. What only we are discussing Nehru and Edwina. Only discussing some random fact about.
No, I am not discussing that. Excuse me. I am not discussing that. I am the host of the discussion. My panelists have done it. I have said in a graphic which will run Albert Einstein, Jai Prakash Narayan. I have used those words. No. I have used those words.
I'm saying that look at the way this discussion is being headed. You morph pictures of Nehru with Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, a very lovable picture. He there's in public domain of Nehru with Vijay Lakshmi Pandit. And the IT cell calls him Ayash, IT cell calls him. We are discussing an emerald. This is Anand Bhavan. Have you gone to Anand Bhavan, Allahabad? When collectors were being paid 100 rupees, Nehruji's and Motilal Nehru's legal consultancy fees was 2,500. They donated worth crores and crores of property to the India's freedom struggle, and we are discussing an emerald, and we are discussing this, and we are discussing that, and that's what we want to protect Nehru from. You can throw any kind of stones, you can throw any kind of filth to the sky, and it will fall on your head. That's Nehru's stature. Nehruji was credited for building a modern India. And when I say most of his huge works is in public domain, everyone has unfettered access to it. Personal letters, and which explicitly mentions the letter that family can anytime retract them. They were not a donation. I repeated. I don't know where Kadriji gets this, but this is there in the official records. They were not a private donation. They were there for safekeeping, and it's a tradition all across the world, in every Ivy League university, everywhere. So family can retract anywhere. We don't want them to, indulge into this, and all they are interested. They don't want to get into the national history.
Okay, Pooja, you made your point, and 8 o'clock is not in my hand because 8 o'clock is a finite time, So I must need to go to Ajit. Who does Nehru belong to? Let me put this way. Ajit, who does Nehru belong to? India? Congress party? Who does Nehru belong to?
Nehru belongs to the entire nation. Nehru belongs to the entire world. He was one of the
Right.
greatest statesmen that we've had as Prime Minister in this country. He laid the very foundation of the country, right? What we have today. So he belongs to the entire nation. I would argue.
You have to add one more
that
thing, with his big successes and big failures. Big successes and big failures. Both.
1962 was certainly a failure.
Absolutely.
Yes,
If there are
yes, I would
successes,
agree.
they
Yes,
have
absolutely.
failures. And then Nehru as a giant has to be evaluated without deification and without demonization. Both has to
I
go
would
hand in
agree.
hand.
I would agree. Except my point is,
ना
all the
देवता
other
बनाइए,
letters should.
ना असुर
other
बनाइए.
letters-
मतलब neither deified nor demonized.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but
That's
the point is,
Nehru
Kartikeya,
wanted.
you cannot politicize the issue. You cannot just want the letters to hammer Nehru that, oh, look, the kind of, the kind of private.
I always
past
feel,
man.
it's like a
So-
mystery,
so
Ajit.
my
The
point
more you
is-
keep
my
it away
point
from the
is-
public, the more you keep it away from the public, the more the interest would be there. This is pure vyavaharikta. The more you keep it away, the more people will
I'm
say,
saying, I'm talking
what is
about
there
the
in that?
Edwina Mountbatten letters. I'm saying the others should be made public. But if it's a private letter to a friend who is very close, then I think the family has the right to keep
I
that.
would just like to thank, I've really run short of time. I would really like to thank all of you because, Nehru's paper has sparked such a big debate after 2008. And 2008 was a time when they, took back the papers. Maybe they were thinking the government is not going to come back, but the government did. So thank you, Dr. Dhairendra Tyal. Thank you, Dr. Pooja Tripathi and Ajit for joining me on this show. And I would say at the end that tonight,